hearing SRIMAD BHAGAVATAM, we heard that Kunti and others, they were feeling separation, grief from Krishna when he was going towards Dwaraka. Then he stayed for some more time. But then, while the Lord was departing from the palace of Hastinapur, different types of drums like the mridanga, dhol, nagra, dhunduri and dundubi, and flutes of different types, the veena, gomukha and behari, all sounded together to show him honor. Prasada shikha ra rudha kuru naryo didrikshaya vavrishuh kusumai krishnam prema vrira smitekshana. Out of a loving desire to see the Lord, the royal ladies of the Kurus got up on the top of the palace and, smiling with affection and shyness, they showered flowers upon the Lord. Sita tapatram jagraha muktadama vibhushitam ratna dandam gura keshah priyah priyatamasyaha. At that time, Arjuna, the great warrior and conqueror of sleep, who is the intimate friend of the most beloved Supreme Lord, took up an umbrella which had a handle of jewels and was embroidered with lace and pearls. Udavah satyakishchaiva vyajane paramadbhute vikir yamanah kusumai reje madhupatih pathi. Uddhava and Satyaki began to fan the Lord with decorated fans, and the Lord, as the master of Madhu, seated on scattered flowers, commanded them along the road. Ashruyanta shishah satyas tatra tatra dvijeritaha nanu rupa nu rupascha nirgunasya gunatmanaha. It was being heard here and there that the benedictions being paid to Krishna were neither befitting nor unbefitting, because they were all for the Absolute, who was now playing the part of a human being. In the verse it is Nirgunasya Gunatmana. He is Nirgun, no material qualities, but playing the pastime of this human. That is aprakrita. I will read here commentary. At places there were sounds of Vedic benediction aiming at the personality of Godhead Shri Krishna. The benedictions were fitting in the sense that the Lord was playing the part of a human being, as if a cousin of Maharaj Yudhishthir, but they were also unfitting because the Lord is absolute and has nothing to do with any kind of material relativities. He is nirguna, or there are no material qualities in him, but he is full of transcendental qualities. In the transcendental world there is nothing contradictory, whereas in the relative world everything has its opposite. In the relative world, white is the opposite conception of black, but in the transcendental world there is no distinction between white and black. Therefore, the sounds of benedictions uttered by learned Brahmanas here and there appear to be contradictory in relation with the Absolute Person, but when they are applied to the Absolute Person, they lose all contradiction and become transcendental. One example may clear this idea. Lord Shri Krishna is sometimes described as a thief. He is very famous amongst his pure devotees as the Makhan Chor. He used to steal butter from the houses of neighbors at Vrindavan in his early age. Since then, he is famous as a thief. But in spite of his being famous as a thief, he is worshipped as a thief. Whereas in the mundane world, a thief is punished and is never praised. Since he is the absolute personality of Godhead, everything is applicable to him, and still, in spite of all contradictions, he is the supreme personality of Godhead. There are many levels of perception. Paroksha, aparoksha. Paroksha means with these gross material senses. Aparoksha means with subtle. Then comes or that is already paroksha means, I forgot, there are stages, but it comes then to adokshaja, one who is beyond senses, gross and subtle, adokshaja. But above that is aprakrita, because it looks like mundane, but it is not. When Krishna is playing the pastime of a human being, Narayan, he's full of opulence and 4 hands and like this, and never born nothing, no parents. So that is adokshaja, transcendental form. But aprakrita is higher than that. That is Vrindavan, or when Krishna descends, looks like human, but he's not. So also this pastime that he's stealing, he's not actually stealing, because everything is anyhow his. He's the owner of everything, that is as God. But in Lila, it was in Vrindavan Lila, it was also because they wanted to serve Krishna. Other gopis, they wanted to give milk, yogurt, and butter and everything to Krishna. So Krishna, they asked permission. Krishna asked permission from Nanda Maharaj and Jashoda that I want to go there to take that milk. Then Nanda Maharaj said, no, why? I'm a king. I have 9 lakhs of cows, 900,000 cows. There is nothing lacking here. Why you will go? No, I don't allow you to go. And other gopis also, they were asking Jashoda, we want to feed Krishna. And she said, no, why he will go? We have everything. And Krishna also asking, and they said, you are very greedy. So they did not allow. But the gopis, other gopis, they want to serve Krishna. So he has no other option to fulfill their desire than to become a thief. But that is not like this in this mundane world. Here, thief steals something which is not his own and against the desire of owner. But there, it was the desire of the gopis that Krishna should take. And only outwardly they were complaining to Jashoda so that they could come and see Krishna and speak about him getting that bliss. So that is why he is worshipped as a thief. That is aprakrita. There are, I forgot the names in Sanskrit, but there is like gross perception and subtle, and then impersonal, transcendental, impersonal. Then adokshaja, like God, God in the form of opulence as a God. That, and above that, final is aprakrita. Looks like mundane, but it is not. Anyonyam asit sanjalpa uttama shloka chetasam kauravendra pura strinam sarva shruti manohara. Absorbed in the thought of the transcendental qualities of the Lord, who is sung in select poetry, the ladies on the roofs of all the houses of Hastinapur began to talk of him. This talk was more attractive than the hymn of the Vedas. More intimate relationship is there. They are singing his glories. Then with awe and reverence of like Brahma, Shiva, they're doing those stutis, Vedic hymns, that is full awe and reverence. Here there is some intimacy and some love, although not the same as in Vrindavan, but still it is superior than that. Yes. The Vedic hymns in the Upanishads are sometimes indirectly directed to the Supreme Lord. But the talks of the ladies were directly spoken of the Lord, and thus they were more pleasing to the heart. Savai kilayam purushah puratano ya eka asit avishesha atmani agre gunebhyo jagat atma nishware nimili tatman nishi supta shakti shu. They said, here he is, the original personality of Godhead, as we definitely remember him. He alone existed before the manifested creation of the modes of nature, and in him only, because he is the Supreme Lord, all living beings merge as if sleeping at night, their energy suspended. So see, they have knowledge. In Vedanta Sutra you have that Atato Brahma Jigyasa. Now is the time to inquire about Brahma, absolute truth. After getting frustration with karma kant, with fulfillment of material desires, after getting that frustration, seeing that will not fulfill, after that is the time to inquire about Brahma. Or you will find in Govinda Vasya, when one gets association of devotees, satsanga, that time is the time, because devotees, they are always worshipping Supreme Lord. They are not prescribing this worldly enjoyment, all these things. So either one may be frustrated, our Gurudev explained in this way, this first sutra, when one is totally frustrated with material acquisition and seeing it is not fulfilling, then he can inquire. Or someone will get association of devotee, then he will. So then Janma Dasya Jata. Janma means creation, Adi. Janma Adi. Creation, maintenance and dissolution, they are coming from him. How do we know this? Shastra Jonitvat. It is in Shastra. Only from Shastra you can know about this. Because all conditioned souls, they have 4 defects. Imperfect senses, committing mistakes, inattentiveness, and cheating propensity. So their words are not reliable. And there are other pramanas, evidences, but they are not reliable. Only Shabda, means transcendental sound, is reliable. Krishna himself is revealing. That is perfect. So in Shastra you can find out who is the cause of everything. So here ladies, they know And many times in Bhagavatam, this will be mentioned. He existed before creation. He exists during creation. Everything is He. And after everything will go into Him. There in Upanishad also our Gurudev used to quote, Jato va imani bhuthani jayante jeno jatani jivanti jat prajanti abhisham vishanti tat bijigya sasva tat eva brahma. From Taittiriya Upanishad. From Him, all living entities come out. They are maintained by Him and they enter into Him. You should inquire about Him, that Brahma. Our Parangurudev then gave example. This hand is in the body, by the body, maintained, and from the body. So it will be beneficial for her, according to constitutional position, that she should be for the body. When she's serving the body by giving food to stomach, then she is also benefited. Like that, we are from Supreme Lord, we are by Supreme Lord, and we are in Supreme Lord. So we should be for Him. That will be benefit for us. So later also we will hear that creation starts, then all Brahma, Shiva, all demigods and other, they come forth by His will. He is the cause of creation. And then they are doing their karma and He is maintaining them. He is giving the fruit and energy for work, everything. And then ultimately when creation time will start, no one can stop that. That is by His will. You can do anything, but you cannot stop. Then everything will be destroyed. Like this body also, when the karma finishes, no one can stop that. It is by the will of Krishna. And then they will enter into Him sleeping for the time being. Then again, new creation, they will come out from the point where they finished. That the karma is not destroyed when they are sleeping, only suspended. He is the cause. There are so many speculations about the creation like this, but Shastra says no. He is Supreme Person. Like a dream also, He is creating the dream. According to karma and the desires of Jiva, He is creating objects in the dream. He. And He is also stopping that dream at exact moment. In dream, you can get the fruits of some of your minor karmas, either enjoyment or suffering, and you cannot prolong that. Even if you want to try, no, He is stopping that. Like here, when the time for universal dissolution comes, no one can stop. And when death comes, when your karma in this body finishes, no one can stop that. Only Krishna can, for His devotees. They are not under the influence of that, otherwise not possible. Sa eva bhuyo nijo virya choditam swajiva mayam prakritim srikshatim anama rupatmani rupanamani vidi samano nusasara shastra krit. The personality of Godhead again desiring to give names and forms to his parts and parcels, the living entities, place them under the guidance of material nature. By his own potency, material nature is empowered to recreate. This is also explained in Vedanta Sutra. Baladev Vidabhushan Govinda said that the question is whether Brahma gives the name or not. Because some verses in Upanishads, they look like, but it is not. He is only instrumental. He, Supreme Lord, is again giving them names and forms according to their karma and to all elements and everything. He is behind everything. No one is independent of him. That is the revelation of Shastra. We may have many speculations based on our sense perception, intellect, all these things, but it is all unreliable. Only Shastra is reliable, that is perfect sound. And that we have to realize. Even if you misinterpret Shastra according to your intellect, or like Shankaracharya did, that will also not work. You have to receive proper message through submission. Then you can realize what is the truth. Also, Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur, he wrote one book, Tattva Viveka. There, he said, everyone asking this question, from where I came, where I will go, who I am, all this, so many questions human being has. And different answers will come according to consciousness of that human being. And he is, in 2 chapters in that book, he is describing different answers which are given by conditioned souls. And they are faulty or limited like that. And then in 2nd chapter he says what kind of answers the Atma is giving when situated in Samadhi, when seeing the truth as it is. Then he is giving perfect knowledge. So that perfect knowledge of Atma in realization, or what Shastra says, that is one and the same. So both we have to, that is why Guru must be Shrotriya, he must have knowledge of Shastra and also realization of the truth. Then he can be stable and he can help others. So even without reading Shastra, if someone is following the proper process and realizes, he will speak same truth. That is required, realization. Not only like knowledge of Shastra, because if no realization, then you may misinterpret, misrepresent also, or only theoretically say, not with that practical realization. So that is necessary. So here, Shastra Krit, it is in verse, the compiler of revealed scripture, that is Supreme Lord, it is coming from him, that is perfect knowledge. It is not mentioned here in translation, but it is there. Krishna is Shastra Krit, the compiler of revealed scripture. In Bhagavad Gita also you will find Vedanta Krit. I am compiler of Vedanta. I know the meaning. This Bhagavatam is actually commentary, explanation of Vedanta Sutra. It is the best scripture of all. So it is by his own potency, material nature is empowered to recreate. He is behind everything. We cannot come to this conclusion without his grace, without accepting revealed knowledge. Impossible. like one child cannot know who is his father because he was not able to see at that time when he was in the semen, when he was in the womb, and then when he came out, he did not see who is the father. He must accept the word by mother. He is your father. Like that, Shastra is telling, he is the cause, Supreme Lord. Only in that way we can first come to know, and then we have to follow that process and then realize ourselves. Then we can see also. Sava ayam yat padam atra surayo jitendriya nirjita mata rishvana pashanti bhakti utkalita malatmana nanvesha sattvam parimarshtum arhati. Here is the same Supreme Personality of Godhead whose transcendental form is experienced by the great devotees who are completely cleansed of material consciousness by dint of rigid devotional service and full control of life and the senses. Rigid devotional service. Those who are doing, that is by his order. So, to such devotees, he will reveal his own form. They can experience in samadhi, transcendental vision. And that is the only way to purify existence. Nayam atma pravachanena labhyo na medaya na bahuna shrutena yam evesha vrinute tena labhyas. One cannot realize Atma means here Paramatma, Supreme Lord, by intellect. And even by hearing much Shastra academically or by giving lectures, not possible. If he will choose you, if he will reveal himself to you, then you can realize him, otherwise not. It is his will is there. Then, in Vedanta Sutra, there is a question. Then we have nothing to do. He will just choose randomly? No. Choosing here means it is by his will. But to whom he will want to reveal himself, to one who will follow that bhakti process. That is his order. Only by his will we can know him. And his will is you do this process, then you can. So, Sevan Mukha hi jivado swayam. One who will serve him under the guidance of pure devotee, Krishna will choose to reveal himself to him. So they can experience that transcendental form, not only hear about or some imagination, no. Direct perception, that is required. We should not be satisfied only by reading books. That is good if it is for the service of Krishna. When Guru tells you to hear about Krishna, it is one kind of Shravan Bhakti, but not as an intellectual stimulation. As a devotional practice to hear about Krishna, then, and also chanting and following what Guru says, then one can experience, realize. We should not think, oh, now I read the book, now I know everything, now I am Guru, now I can teach others spiritual knowledge. No, it is not like that. You have to realize. Through devotional, here says, rigid devotional service under the guidance of Guru, and purify yourself of all material consciousness, having full control of life and the senses, then that transcendental form is experienced by such devotees. Sava ayam sakyanugita satkato vedeshu guhyeshu cha guhya vadibhi ya eka isho jagat atma lilaya sri jatyavati ati na tatra sajjate. Oh dear friends, here is that very personality of Godhead whose attractive and confidential pastimes are described in the confidential parts of Vedic literature by his great devotees. It is he only who creates, maintains, and annihilates the material world, and yet remains unaffected. What pure devotees speak about Krishna because they realized in Samadhi, that is Shastra, same as Shastra, totally same. There may be another words used or another way of explaining, but it is same thing. They are saying that he's maintaining, creating everything, but unaffected. Like philosopher's stone, he can transform iron into gold, but he's not changed. Like that, that is transformation of his external potencies, this creation, and the jivas, he's infusing them inside. That is also his marginal potency. He's unchanged. Even though he's the cause of creation, maintenance, and destruction. They can describe. So we should make this as our goal, as our project, that I have to see Krishna, I have to realize him. We should not be satisfied just reading some books and then thinking, now I know everything, now I can teach others. That will not work. That we should not be satisfied only with this level of knowledge. We have to acquire realized knowledge. Then we can actually be happy, and we can actually help others also properly. Otherwise, we will not know how to apply that knowledge in our own practical life, and also what others should do according to their eligibility. So then some disturbance also comes when someone is just speaking Shastra like this without considering many things. That is also. So every service we have to do under the guidance of bona fide Guru, then it will be proper. It will be for our benefit and for the benefit of others. Yada hyadharmena tamodhiyo nripa jivanti tatraisha hi satvata kila dhate bhagam satyam ritam dayam yasho bhavaya rupani dhata juge juge. Our Gurudev was explaining, because he was studying philosophy in college. Gurudev was from birth, he was interested in meditation and the spiritual realization, and he liked to study mathematics. Then he wanted to renounce, to give up household life and go for spiritual realization, but his father did not allow him. He said, no, you have to study more after college and all this. So for PhD, Gurudev taught, at that time I was not fully ready to renounce house, and my father was telling me, you have to study So then I decided I will study philosophy, because then I can know something at least in that direction. Otherwise, if I would stay in house, wanted to stay in house as a householder, then I would study mathematics. That was my favorite subject. So then Gurudev took philosophy and all Eastern and Western. So Gurudev told that Darshan Shastra or Siddhanta is not the same word as philosophy. Because philo means love, Sophia, knowledge, love for knowledge, to know the reality. But how they want to realize the reality, he showed in dictionary, Oxford Dictionary, through reasoning and argument. Then Guru said that is not possible. So philosophy and Darshan Shastra are quite different, opposite. Shastra is telling by these instruments you cannot realize that, like these ladies, by the grace of Krishna, they are saying he creates, he maintains, he destroys. How we can know this? We cannot know this by means of our material senses and intellect, because they are temporary and defective. We cannot perceive that which is eternal by non-eternal senses. Even Brahma could not understand anything by means of, and he's much highly developed than we are. He has such long span of life and 4 heads, intelligence, everything, but he could not know. And he could not recognize Krishna also in Vrindavan. Only when he took shelter and followed the process Krishna gave him, it will come here in Bhagavatam, then he could realize. So Gurudev told, even those philosophers, they came to same conclusion, that Immanuel Kant, he said, human being can know the thing as it appears, not the thing as it is. There is no capacity in human being to know the thing as it is, only as it appears, through sense perception and reasoning into category that, but not as it is. Then Hegel said, no, you can by reasoning. Then Bradley or Burks, I forgot. One is French, one is English. He told, no, you cannot by reasoning, because there is a bar between the observer and the observed. By intellect, you cannot. But you can only realize through immediate presentation and feeling. Means, if that thing directly presents to you and you feel it, means you realize it as it is, you accept it, then you can know. So Gurudev said, indirectly they are also coming to the same conclusion, that by sense perception and intellect, all these non-eternal things, limited, you cannot know the reality as it is. Because reality, if really it is reality, it is eternally existing. So you cannot produce it in the factory of your mind or intellect or senses. That will be intellectually concocted, cooked thing. That cannot be reality. Reality is already existing, eternally existing. You have to find a way how to see that truth. You are not to produce it, manufacture it, but to how to realize it. That is also the difference between real devotees' realization and sahajiyas. They try to imagine. By their non-eternal senses, they try to imagine or imitate Krishna and his associates, but that is not possible. That will be material everything and is temporary, and it cannot remove ulterior desires. Reality is revealed, darshan, shastra. It has to be revealed to you, and you have to accept it as it is, through surrender. Then you can know. So with non-eternal senses, it is impossible to see eternal. We have to accept that process of revelation. He is revealing himself through Shastra, and realized devotees in Guru Parampara, we have to hear about him and act according to his will. Then we can only realize. So here these ladies, they are saying such things which no one can know. Even Brahma could not understand this. But here, by the grace of Krishna, they can speak. Whenever there are kings and administrators living like animals in the lowest modes of existence, the Lord in his transcendental form manifests his supreme power, the truth positive, shows special mercy to the faithful, performs wonderful activities, and manifests various transcendental forms as is necessary in different periods and ages. Yes. 1 second to see. I will read commentary. As mentioned above, the cosmic creation is the property of the Supreme Lord. This is the basic philosophy of Ishopanishad. Everything is the property of the Supreme Being. No one should encroach upon the property of the Supreme Lord. One should accept only what is kindly awarded by him as his mercy. Your quota, there you will find certain quota. As his mercy we can accept for his service. Otherwise we will be thieves and we will be in hell. Ambrish Maharaj, he was the owner of whole world, but he knew, if I will think this is mine, then I will go to hell. Everything belongs to Krishna, but that does not mean that we will then die or we have to commit suicide. No, we have to use what is his for his satisfaction and take prasad as his mercy to get energy to serve him. That circle is there. Therefore, the earth or any other planet or universe is the absolute property of the Lord. The living beings are certainly his parts and parcels or sons, and thus every one of them has the right to live at the mercy of the Lord to execute his prescribed work, according to Shastra prescribed work. No one, therefore, can encroach upon the right of another individual man or animal without being so sanctioned by the Lord. The king or the administrator is the representative of the Lord to look after the management of the Lord's will. That everyone is following their prescribed duties and not deviating and doing theft and unnecessary violence and all this. King has to see. He must therefore be a recognized person like Maharaj Yudhishthir or Parikshit. Such kings have full responsibility and knowledge from authorities about the administration of the world. But at times, due to the influence of the ignorance mode of material nature, Tamoguna, the lowest of the material modes, kings and administrators come into power without knowledge, means that transcendental knowledge, and responsibility, and such foolish administrators live like animals for the sake of their own personal interest. They're exploiting others. We can see this very clearly. Because in Tamoguna or Rajoguna, no knowledge, only desire to exploit. The result is that the whole atmosphere becomes surcharged with anarchy and vicious elements. Nepotism, bribery, cheating, aggression, and therefore famine, epidemic, war, and similar other disturbing features become prominent in human society because of this, of sinful activities of human beings. All the devotees of the Lord or the faithful are persecuted by all means. All these symptoms indicate the time of an incarnation of the Lord to re-establish the principles of religion and to vanquish the maladministrators. This is also confirmed in the Bhagavad Gita. Nature will not remain silent. Under the guidance of Krishna, that balance will be there. I forgot one thing I wanted to say, but I forgot. Maybe it will come. Something Gurudev told, I remembered in this. The Lord then appears in his transcendental form without any tinge of material qualities. He descends just to keep the state of his creation in a normal condition. The normal condition is that the Lord has provided each and every planet with all the needs of the native living beings. They can happily live and execute their predestined occupations to attain salvation at the end, following the rules and regulations mentioned in the revealed scriptures. The material world is created to satisfy the whims of the Nityabada, or everlasting conditioned souls, just as naughty boys are provided with playing cradles. Otherwise, there was no need of the material world, like prison house. Those who want to enjoy, for them Krishna has to create all these things. But we have to get that realization that this is not good for us. But when they become intoxicated with the power of material science to exploit the resources unlawfully without the sanction of the Lord, and that also for sense gratification, there is necessity of the Lord's incarnation to chastise the rebellious and to protect the faithful. When he descends, he exhibits superhuman acts just to prove his supreme right, and materialists like Ravan, Hiranyakashipu, and Kamsa are sufficiently punished. He acts in a manner which no one can imitate. For example, the Lord, when he appeared as Ram, bridged the Indian Ocean. When he appeared as Krishna, from his very childhood, he showed superhuman activities by killing Putana, Aghasur, Shakatasur, Kaliya, etc., and then his maternal uncle Kamsa. When he was at Dwaraka, he married 16,108 queens, and all of them were blessed with a sufficient number of children. The sum total of his personal family members amounted to about 100,000, popularly known as the Yadu Vangsha. And again, during his lifetime, he managed to vanquish them all. He is famous as the Govardhan Dhari Hari because he lifted at the age of only 7 the hill known as Govardhan. The Lord killed many undesirable kings in his time, and as a Kshatriya he fought chivalrously. He is famous as Asamordva, unparalleled, Asama and Urdhva. No one is superior or equal to him. That is the meaning. Not equal and not superior. Asama, and when you combine it comes Asamordhva. No one is equal to or greater than him, because devotees we have to put Urdhva Pundra Tilak. Tilak which is going upwards, not like this. That is Urdhva. Sama means equal. So Asa Mordva. No one is equal. So only his will, only by his will you can get him. I cannot remember. Tomorrow we'll hear further about how Krishna is in control of everything, about creation, maintenance, and destruction, and he is also the only one who can liberate us from this condition and award us the service of his lotus feet when we become qualified for that.